Before anything else, do that quick little gesture that really strengthens what we do here. Hit like now and check you're already subscribed. That helps this video reach more supporters, more people who truly live Manchester City and want to understand what's happening behind the results, the decisions, and the transfer moves. Agreed? Then stick with me, because today's breaking updates have a direct impact on City's present and future. Let's start with what hits every fan right in the chest: the Champions League. City have just lived one of those nights that changes the whole mood of a season, the kind you rewatch later just to feel it again. At the Santiago Bernabeu against Real Madrid, the team pulled off a massive comeback that's worth more than 3 points. It's worth belief, it's worth confidence, it's that we're back feeling. And that matters even more when you remember this squad is going through a period of readjustment, with young players earning space, roles being reshaped, and a project that's still locking into place in real time. Real Madrid struck early, with Rodrigo applying pressure and trying to turn the match into that classic Bernabeu script, the kind that pins the visitors back and makes you feel like any mistake becomes a sentence. But City refused to play that part. And then came one of those moments that reminds you why football still surprises. Nico O'Reilly stepped up with his first Champions League goal, like he was saying, "I belong on this stage too." And when the game reached that point where one detail decides everything, Erling Haaland took responsibility. Calm, clinical, buried the penalty, and completed the comeback with that icy composure that drives any opponent mad. It's the kind of win that, inside the dressing room, changes the tone of conversations, changes the look in people's eyes, changes the attitude in the next day's training. That result pushed City up to 4th place in this new Champions League phase. And that's huge, because the campaign had taken a hit in the previous European match. That 2-0 defeat to Bayer Leverkusen that left a bad taste and stirred up doubts. Winning in Madrid the way it happened isn't just getting points back. It's getting back the idea that this team can compete at the very highest level even while adjusting, even without everything being perfect, even with young players being tested under fire. But elite football doesn't give you time to celebrate. City returned to Manchester on Thursday, and immediately the focus switched to Sunday's away match against Crystal Palace. And here's what every fan needs to feel. When a team starts building a run, the next game becomes a test of maturity, because it's one thing to beat a giant on a European night with adrenaline through the roof. It's another thing to bring the same seriousness to a Premier League match where the opponent will snap into every duel, run themselves into the ground, fight for every ball like it's a final, and test you mentally for 90 minutes. And the Premier League, out of nowhere, has tightened up again. City are building momentum, stacking wins, and the picture opened up when Arsenal stumbled into a dramatic 2-1 defeat to Aston Villa, with Emiliano Buendia scoring in stoppage time and sending that shockwave through the table and the psychology of the race. On the other side, City did the job last weekend. 3-0 against Sunderland, with goals from Ruben Dias, Joško Gvardiol, and Phil Foden. Clean, convincing, and most importantly, it closed the gap for real. The distance to Arsenal is now just 2 points. And when it's that small, every round becomes a turning point. You start watching rivals with a different mindset, because any slip from them becomes a real opportunity, and any slip from you becomes instant punishment. But in the middle of this here-we-go feeling, the worrying update landed. Bernardo Silva is suspended in the Champions League, and it's not a suspension for a red card, a bust-up, or indiscipline. It's that quiet, administrative suspension, the one that hits when you rack up yellows and suddenly realize UEFA doesn't care about context. The rule is simple. 3 yellow cards in the league phase means an automatic 1-match ban, and that's exactly what happened. Bernardo was booked in the win over Real Madrid, and that took him to the limit. Consequence, he misses the next European fixture, away against Bodo Glimt. And I'll ask you, supporter, can you feel how big that is? Because Bernardo isn't just another player. He's someone who, even when he doesn't show up in the stats with a goal or an assist, organizes the chaos. He gives control when the ball is burning. He offers a passing lane when the team is being squeezed. He helps the side breathe when the opponent tries to suffocate you. He's the kind of piece that seems small until the day he isn't there. And City will have to deal with that absence at exactly the moment the team is trying to lock in rhythm and turn confidence into consistency. And there's another detail you can't ignore. It's not only Bernardo on the edge. Nico O'Reilly and Savinho are both walking the line on 2 yellows each. That means any booking against Bodo Glimt could rule one of them out of the following match, at home against Galatasaray in matchday 8. And that's where squad intelligence comes in. In the Champions League, managing risk is part of the game. There are matches where you have to be aggressive, but there are moments where a silly foul, a complaint, a late challenge becomes punishment for the next round. And when you're thinking about qualification and knockouts, losing key pieces over small details is exactly how planning collapses. So the question hanging in the air isn't just, can City win without Bernardo? It's, how do City behave without Bernardo? Because winning can happen, of course, especially with a deep squad. But the behavior changes. Who controls the tempo? Who keeps the ball when the stadium starts squeezing? Who organizes the cover when the opponent tries to target the wide channels? And most importantly, who takes on that emotional leadership on the pitch? The leadership you don't measure by an armband, but by attitude. Pep Guardiola in this situation is obsessive. He won't use the suspension as an excuse. He'll treat it as a test. He'll demand maturity. He'll require the team to be as serious as they were in Madrid, maybe even more, because away trips like this, against an opponent fighting for their lives, can become traps. And if City really want to turn this good spell into something bigger, they have to get through these traps without losing their heads. So tell me in the comments, straight, do you think Bernardo Silva's absence is a real problem? Or do you trust City have enough solutions to get past Bodo Glimt without suffering? And just when you think today's topic is already heavy, here comes another one that touches the club's future, the development plan, and a decision that could define a young lad's career, Claudio Echeverri. His situation has become a point of tension because what was meant to be a growth stage has turned into a stalled, frustrating, risky spell for any young player's development. City sent the Argentine to Bayer Leverkusen in August with a clear idea. Put a high-ceiling talent into European football, speed up adaptation, give him high-level minutes, and make him feel, in real terms, the weight and pace of the game over there. But reality has been different. Time passed, matches passed, and Echeverri spent far more time on the bench than on the pitch. And when a young player goes weeks living the training routine without the reward of playing, without the real experience of competing, confidence starts to take a hit. And without confidence, even the rarest talent can feel trapped. To make it worse, the mood behind the scenes has turned awkward too. Pep Guardiola has shown discomfort with the player's entourage, especially with how the agents have handled things. And that's serious, because when a manager like Pep lets any public criticism slip, even indirectly, it's a sign internal conversations have been worn down for a while. And now the story has reached that point where someone needs to make a decision before the problem grows. What's being reported, according to accounts that surfaced in Argentina and were echoed abroad, is that the loan could be cut short in January. And that's where the clash of desires comes in. From the player's side, there's a very human wish to return to River Plate, to go back where he feels strong, where the environment is familiar, where he can recover joy and rhythm without so much external pressure. It's the safe zone many athletes look for when they feel a phase has slipped out of their control. But from City's side, and especially from Pep's, the idea is different. Pep doesn't want him going back to South America now. And when Pep puts his foot down, it's usually because he sees the path as part of a bigger project, not an emotional patch. The alternative being pushed by the manager is Girona, a club within the City football group, and in City's view, it can offer exactly what Echeverri needs without breaking the process of adapting to European football. And that's where it gets delicate, because it's not only where to play, it's about identity, development, mentality. Girona play in La Liga, a league that demands tactical intelligence, space awareness, bravery on the ball. It's an environment that could bring Echeverri closer to a style more aligned with what City demand. At the same time, in the player's head, the message might be, I need to breathe, I need to feel like myself again. And if that conflict isn't resolved the right way, it can become a trail of rushed decisions. Because Echeverri's talent hasn't disappeared. Anyone who's seen what he does in tight spaces knows it. Quick dribble, close control, short burst acceleration, vision for the vertical pass, bravery to call for the ball and take the game. That doesn't vanish. What vanishes when things go wrong is the lightness. And without that lightness, the player starts choosing the safest option, starts playing afraid of making mistakes. And that's when football loses its essence. The point is, the decision on the table right now is not small. It can put Echeverri back on a European track with minutes and growth, or it can delay adaptation and turn a learning stage into another chapter of almost. And nobody at City wants that because the club invests with development, fit, and the long-term picture in mind. And to close, if this video genuinely helped you understand what's happening with Manchester City, do the simple thing that strengthens our work massively. Hit like now, because that pushes the content to more supporters, and check you're subscribed. Turn on the bell as well so you don't miss any breaking updates, because the club's next decisions could change everything, in the Champions League, in the Premier League, and in the market. Drop a comment below with what you think about Bernardo's suspension, Echeverri's future, and that possible City target for 2026. Thanks for watching right to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.